Gurudev, you'll have to unmute yourself if you've already started because you're all muted. You can get started.
Savita ji, any difficulty in sharing? You want any help?
Am I audible now?
Yes, yes, Savitaji, we can hear you. And
Okay,
see the
initially,
screen as well.
okay. Actually, I did not unmute myself in the beginning, so I was finding it difficult. Yeah, fine. Okay. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunattu Sahaviryam Karvavahe Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Narayanam Namaskrityam Navam Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tado Jayam Udirayet. I'll make it big. Shall we read this, or shall I repeat the 63 verse?
I think we'll go to 62 first and then revise that and then go forward.
Okay, well, yesterday we read 63. Dhyayatu.
That was 63, is it?
Yeah, that is 63. And yesterday Somaji did 63.
No, 63 is Krodhat Bhavati Sammohaha.
Yeah.
So we'll do 62 and 63.
60. Okay.
And 63 we did yesterday.
Okay. 62 and 63. Right. Okay. ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसस् सङ्गस्तेषुपजायते सङ्गात् संजायते कामः कामात् क्रोधोऽभिजायते क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहः सम्मोहः स्मृतिविभ्रमः स्मृतिभ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशो बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति Vishayan, let me, sorry for the screen here. Mm-hmm. 353 here, yeah.
Savitaji, you want me to share the screen? You can read if you have,
No,
because you are.
now it's fine. Actually,
Okay.
I read from my text, so that is why. Now it's fine. Vishayan, objects, dhyayata, for the one who dwells upon, punsas, for the person, sangha, attachment, teshu, with reference to them, upjayate, is born, sangat, from attachment, sanjayate, is born, kama, desire, kamat, from desire, krodha, anger, abhijayate, abhijayate, is born, krodhat, from anger, bhavati, comes, sammoha, delusion, sammohat, from delusion, smriti vibhramaha, loss of memory, smriti bhramshat, from loss of memory, buddhinasha, ruin of the mind, buddhinashat, from ruin of the mind, pranashyati, one is destroyed. विषयान् ध्यायत पुंसस् संघतेषु उपजायते संगात् संजायते कामः कामात् क्रोधो अभिजायते क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहः सम्मोहात् स्मृतिविभ्रमः स्मृतिभ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशः बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति. In the person who dwells upon objects, an attachment is born with reference to them. From attachment is born desire, and from desire, anger is born. From anger comes delusion, and from delusion comes the loss of memory. Because the loss of memory, the mind becomes incapacitated, and when the mind is incapacitated, the person is destroyed. Every desired object has its own peculiarities, its enticing qualities, and desirable attributes. The object is not desired for itself. It is desired because it is seen as desirable. The person being discussed in these two verses meditates on the peculiarities and desirability of various objects instead of meditating on the inner self, Pratyagatma. One who dwells on a particular object and its merits develop a certain longing, a certain love or affection for the object. The word object here refers to anything that you think of and therefore include people as well. First, you come into contact with an object or a person, and then when the encounter is over, it is over. Unless, of course, the object or person keeps coming back into your head. There is no reason as to why certain objects come back into your head. They just do. And when they do, you dwell upon them. An object that comes back into your head and goes away again is not a problem. Any experience leaves a certain memory, smriti, and because of the impact of the experience, the whole scene may be played back in your mind. This in itself is not the problem. What happens, however, is that you begin to like the object and begin to dwell upon its desirability. Even at this stage, there is no real problem. Dwelling upon the object is what is meant by meditation here. Meditation meaning constantly thinking about something. It may be something about a person that you keep dwelling upon, the person's dress, jewelry, voice, speech, mannerism, decorum, thinking, hair, nose, eyes, or height, all of which represent the countless varieties of objects upon which you can meditate. Meditation is the flow of thoughts about an object and anything connected to it. Sajatiye vritti pravaha. I hope my speed is okay. I'm just like going through without pause. The meditation of attachment. Krishna was not talking about the person who meditates on the Satchit Ananda Atma, even though the person he was discussing may be smiling while meditating. The smile is only because of the memory of some compliment or other. It is a smile of elation, and this elation is what is meant by attachment, sangha. There is a certain love, a certain affection that has developed for another person or an object, a sense of being pleased with the object. Otherwise, there would be no attachment. Once a smile comes at the thought of the object, it means that attachment has already been established. You cannot discover affection for anything without first dwelling upon it. A person may develop affection for a cat merely by continuing to think about it and caring for it. An attachment can also develop so that without the cat, the person finds that life is empty. If life is full only when it is full of cats and dogs, definitely we will find life full of cats and dogs. This kind of attachment can occur towards any object, a carpet, furniture, anything. Is it any wonder then that there is affection and then attachment towards a person who talks back nicely in a sweet voice that utters pleasing words? If affection for and attachment to a mewing cat can be developed, of course, a talking, smiling, thinking person is capable of evoking an even better response. Affection itself is no problem. The problem is this: whatever you like, you almost always want to possess. This is why Krishna said that desire is born from attachment, that attachment is the cause of desire, and because there are different types of objects, there are different types of desires. The desire to possess, the desire to own, the desire to experience. To create a desire, all that is required is a casual glance at a Caribbean cruise brochure that came in the mail. In fact, the whole idea of direct mail is to create a desire in you. You may call it junk mail, but for those who send it, it is not junk. They know that someone will be attracted to the idea conveyed by the brochure, and to ensure that you do not forget, they also send you follow up literature. When the second brochure arrives, the pleasant memory that had been stored based on the first brochure comes to mind, and affection for the subject matter develops. From this affection alone come the desire to go on a Caribbean cruise. In this way, the desire to experience, to own, to possess is created. Not every desire can be fulfilled. Varieties of desires are born depending on the objects for which you have affection and attachment. Desire also is not the problem, but once a well shaped desire has been formed, once it is no longer in the fancy state, you have to deal with it. You have to fulfill it, and this causes you to take action. If you can fulfill the desire, there is no problem. More often than not, however, the desire is not fulfilled. This then is where the problem arises. Not every desire can be fulfilled. It is not that easy. There are many obstacles that prevent the fulfillment of some desires. The problem comes then when the desires are not fulfilled and you become angry. The desire itself turns into anger, krodha. Thus, desire is the cause for anger, or in the words of Krishna, anger is born of desire. If there is no expectation with reference to a desire, there will be no anger if the desire is not fulfilled. Suppose you want someone to do something for you and the person does not do it. If you knew that he or she might not do it, then there is no anger. But if you expected the person to do it, you will definitely be angry when it is not done. Even if the anger is not expressed, anger born is born. The intensity with which you desire something is what determines the magnitude of your anger and not the object itself. If your desire is such that it does not matter to you whether or not it is fulfilled, then anger will not be there. Even if it is, it will amount to very little. Whereas, if the intensity of the desire is great, the anger that comes from the desire not being fulfilled is not going to be easily managed either by you or by the person who happens to be between you and what you want. If the other person is an obstruction to what you want, then your desire will turn into anger towards that person. If you expect the person to behave in a certain way and he or she does not behave in that manner, then the person will definitely be the target of your anger. And if that person's behavior is not according to your expectations, because of another person, then your anger gets directed towards the other person. And sometimes your anger against the second may be more than towards the first. The nature of anger. Anger is always towards the obstruction to the fulfillment of your desire. If between you and the object that you desire, there is an obstruction, that obstruction is the target of your anger. The desire itself is deflected against this obstruction, and this deflected ray of desire is what is called anger. In this way, this anger is like the vinegar that may result when you try to make wine. Both the wine and the vinegar have as their essence the grapes alone. But the wine turns into vinegar. How? It too has its own story. The point here is not to avoid anger by avoiding desire. Rather, you have to remove the sting from your desires, for which a proper attitude is very important. That everything should happen as I want to is not a realistic expectation, and such an expectation is due to raga dvesha alone. The raga dvesha, your likes and dislikes, have to be neutralized if you would like to be free from anger. Nor is it a matter of controlling anger. What does controlling anger really mean? The anger is inside and you are simmering until suddenly one day it erupts like a volcano. Once anger is there, what happens is only too well known. Aviveka, lack of discrimination, will definitely be there. In anger, you are not going to take the time to consider whether a certain action is proper or improper. You are not going to spend time considering, should I kick him or should I punch him? Whatever comes first is what happens. Once anger is there, things just take place. What you do or say takes place of its own accord and depends entirely upon the past, your upbringing, and so on. There is no question of control here. The very meaning of anger is that viveka, with reference to what should and should not be done, is lacking. And from this anger comes delusion, sammoha. What is being pointed out in these two verses is the process that takes place when one dwells on an object. There is no time involved here. Dwelling on an object implies affection, desire, anger, delusion, and more. Because of the delusion born of anger, loss of memory, smriti vibhramaha, take place. The word smriti, memory, refers here to whatever you may have learned by studying the Shastra, whatever you have assimilated about right and wrong, whatever you learn from your teachers, elders, and life's experiences, what made you angry in the past, what happened, and so on. None of these you remember because delusion has come and along with it aviveka. Thus, there is a loss of memory with reference to all the wisdom you had gathered from your past education and experiences. Once the wisdom of your past experiences, smriti, is not available, the mind is incapacitated. There is buddhi nasha. Your buddhi now is incapable of analyzing whether something is to be done or not to be done because whatever wisdom you had gathered is not available to you. Delusion is like an inner torpor, a blackout that makes you forget the wisdom you had. Therefore, your buddhi, your intellect, is unable to is unable to do what it is supposed to do. It is incapable of giving orders to go ahead or stop in accordance with what is right and wrong. This is what the buddhi is supposed to do, but it is not available to do it. In the absence of wisdom, impulse takes over. The buddhi is only available when wisdom is available. And in the absence of wisdom, it behaves as though it is not programmed at all. Impulse takes over. In other words, buddhi is destroyed, pranashyati. The person is no more a human being and can be likened to an animal because he or she give himself or herself over to impulses. The impulses take over and determine exactly what the person is going to do. It may be biting, kicking, screaming, hitting someone, or even committing suicide. When a person is controlled by impulse, anything can happen, and whatever happens just happens. Unlike anger, until anger comes, the person can be careful, but once anger is there, all caution is gone. The verbs used in these two verses are very revealing in this regard. From attachment, desire is born. From desire, anger is born. At this point, however, the verb changes from is born to take place. From anger, delusion take place, and from delusion, the incapacity of the mind take place. This shows how the person has no more any control over the situation. Once anger is born, delusion, loss of wisdom, and the destruction of the person just take place. Control is possible only before anger. Afterward, what happens is history. Given that meditating on desirable objects creates problems for you, the message of the Gita is clear. Instead of meditating upon objects, meditate upon the self. Instead of meditating upon your problems and inhibitions, meditate upon the Pratigatma, the inner self, because if you do not, you will naturally meditate upon the objects, which is the cause of all your problems. So this is very true. When we meditate, thoughts of the previous days, they do come, but you have to let go them and meditate upon the Pratigatma, the self, inner self.
Another important thing is that from desire, anger is born. But after anger comes, the delusion just takes place. So there is no control over there. So the only control we have is before anger erupts. After that, it is a sudden storm. It's a storm of emotion that just takes over and dilutes the intellect, the memory.
And before the desires also, the base is the raga and dvesha. The event starts happening from there, from the likes and dislikes. So this likes and dislikes, this thing is repeatedly coming. So and it is related to all the behavior which a human does in the light of the raga and dvesha. So whenever mind is attached or is wants to get away, from some object or situation. It is like you have to have that alert mind. Like when you feel that uh, I cannot do without this, I think that is that the the moment, like the time when one should detach oneself from that, because objects come, they come, they come in your head repeatedly, but it is us that we have to shrug them off from our at the right moment, so that you are not depending, or you're not attaching your inner inner self with some objects, because this is what happens for a mother who while she's doing all her jobs and she's taking care of the children, that moha develops slowly, and then that moha, then it becomes, when it is not controlled, it becomes that all the feelings of insecurities and anxiety, uh, expectations, they start developing. They have creeped in you, inside you, and you weren't even able to know it, that this has happened. It's only when situation comes, then you come to know that yes, uh, this is wrong. So unknowingly it happens, but then with the help of the knowledge and your own practice, you have to take a back step, so that uh, do what is required. It happens so many times, especially with children, and it can happen with any, like, can be with any object too, with any. The sense of possessiveness, we read some in some line that what you want, you then want to have it. And there was one line, I don't remember from which paragraph was it.
Yeah,
But
you want to own it,
yeah,
possess
you want
it,
to own it.
and
Yeah.
experience.
So when you want to own it, what you like, when you want to own it, problem starts from there. So that sense of possessiveness leads to misery. Voice is not clear, Sumaji. Your voice is breaking.
And through all these wisdom, we know that it is the impressions of raga dvesha that is the out then. Is it clear now?
Yeah, now it's
Is it
clear.
better now?
Yes, clear.
Yeah. So this is my observation through all these wisdom sessions and personal experience. It is the impressions of these raga dveshas that are there in our mind from childhood experience or past life that triggers this wanting, owning, possessing, experiencing, all that. And how do you detach? One is initially you start with willpower, then you do your abhyasa practice. But I noticed that willpower, you may be able to hold for some time, or you may be able to hold for a long time also, but the impressions in the mind have not gone. So that leads to discontentment in the mind. So to remove the impressions in the mind, we have to do the meditation. That sahaj and silence, these are the two things that thin down these impressions, isn't it?
Yeah, but first initial what is I think is the acknowledgement should be there. First you
Yeah,
acknowledge that this is what is happening, and then
yeah,
when you acknowledge it, then half the thing is done.
yeah.
Because
But
until
then when you
unless acknowledgement
acknowledge,
is not there, then that suppression feeling would be there, no? So acknowledging
yes,
the problem and then you work upon, then it becomes
yeah,
easier.
yeah. When you say work upon, usually people go to, oh, I have a strong willpower. I can say any habit, smoking, drinking, whatever. I can stay away from it. So I have a strong willpower. I can let go. Okay, you have strong willpower. Uh, is there, but the impressions of the attachment to that habit or will have that anger when you let go. So that impression of anger can be removed only through meditation. You may have willpower, we will have acknowledgement, and we will do our practices, but deep cleansing is possible
Yeah, that is true.
only through sahaj and
Meditation.
silence.
That is
It
rasa.
thins.
Rasa, rasa.
Correct, 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 correct. Yeah. And it thins down actually. It doesn't, again, totally eliminate, I think, from my experience. It thins down and you are no longer under its grip.
Yeah, right.
That can be gone only with the sadhana.
Yeah, it loses its grip actually.
Yeah.
I have heard Gurudev says it was only Guru Kripa, grace
Yeah.
of the master will help you remove these deepest impressions. So again, we come back to surrender, Ishvara Pranidhana.
Ishwar Yeah, right. Very true. All these topics, that fear, anger, all these we are covering slowly, like all verses. I was just thinking, like, how every uh, uh, all these virtues, you can say, they are not the virtues, basically, that the habits of the natural expressions of a human, of any living thing, you can say. Every creature has fear, and they must be having those emotion, angerness, like. So it is the expressions of how Krishna is uh, attending to every expression in
That
a
is vasanas.
systematic.
Those are all called vasanas.
Vasanas, the right word.
Yeah.
So how we
That
are,
can be gone only by sadhana
yeah,
and practice daily.
abhyasa, viveka,
Hmm.
yeah, knowledge.
Starts with abhyasa, then viveka comes, then knowledge dawns.
Yes. Anyone wants to share, or shall I move ahead? Okay. रागद्वेषवियुक्तस्तु विषयानिन्द्रियैश्चरन् आत्मवश्यैर्विधेयात्मा प्रसादामधिगच्छति. 2. Whereas ragadvesha viyuktai free from likes and dislikes, atmavashyai with those that are under his or her control, indriyai with sense organs, vishyancharan moving in the world of objects, vidheyatma one whose mind is controlled, prasadam tranquility, adhigachati attains. Whereas one whose mind is controlled, moving in the world of objects with the sense organs under his or her control, free from likes and dislikes, attain tranquility. I'll repeat this. Whereas one whose mind is controlled, moving in the world of objects with the sense organs under his or her control, free from likes and dislikes, attain tranquility. We have seen that even a viveki cannot but dwell upon objects of raga dvesha, likes and dislike, if he or she still has a rasa, a value for these objects. And this dwelling upon is also called meditation. One dwells upon objects of dvesha in order to avoid them, for which one has to scheme and plan, whereas objects of raga are dwelt upon in order to gain them. I'll repeat again. We have seen that even a viveki cannot but dwell upon objects of raga dveshas, likes and dislikes, if he or she still has a rasa, a value for these objects. And this dwelling upon is called meditation. One dwells upon objects of dvesha in order to avoid them, for which one has to scheme and plan, whereas objects of raga are dwelt upon in order to gain them. Dwelling upon the desirability of objects is indeed the basis for all problems that come later. It is the cause for the affection and love that develops for the object. Once affection is there, it will naturally turn into a desire. If the desire is fulfilled, there is no problem. But if it is not fulfilled, the whole psychology of how one loses oneself comes into play, as Krishna pointed out in the previous 2 verses. The present verse reveals how the problem created by unfulfilled desires become neutralized, and once again points out the starting point for moksha, liberation.
Can you read the meaning of the verse once again?
Verse, okay.
Whereas,
Whereas, I'll read one para before this, right?
yeah.
Given that meditating on desirable objects creates problems for you, the message of the Gita is clear. Instead of meditating upon objects, meditating upon the self. Instead of meditating upon your problems and inhibitions, meditate upon the Pritigatma, the inner self, because if you do not, you will naturally meditate upon the objects, which is the cause of all your problems. Whereas one whose mind is controlled, moving in the world of objects with the sense organs under his or her control, free from likes and dislikes, attain tranquility.
Okay. Thank you.
Shall I repeat from the beginning? I'll read. Okay. We have seen that even a Viveki cannot but dwell upon objects of raga dveshas, likes and dislikes, if he or she still has a rasa, a value for these objects. And this dwelling upon is also called meditation. One dwells upon object of dvesha in order to avoid them, for which one has to scheme and plan, whereas objects of raga are dwelt upon in order to gain them. Dwelling upon the desirability of objects is indeed the basis for all problems that come later. It is the cause for the affection and love that develops for the object. Once affection is there, it will naturally turn into a desire. If the desire is fulfilled, there is no problem. But if it is not fulfilled, the whole psychology of how one loses oneself comes into play, as Krishna pointed out in the previous two verses. The present verse reveals how the problem created by unfulfilled desires becomes neutralized and once again points out the starting point for moksha, liberation. The natural pursuit of the person's organs is in keeping with his or her ragas and dveshas, likes and dislikes. But suppose the person is a seeker, a mumukshu, meaning that he or she wants moksha, for which self knowledge is required, then all his pursuits cannot be dictated by his raga dveshas. The word mumukshu is especially pertinent here in that it means one who is desirous of liberation, moktum ichuhu, mumukshuha, mumukshuha. We have seen that moksha is one of the four pursuits open to a human being. But for a mumukshu, moksha alone is important. He or she has already sought after and experienced pursuits of security, artha, and pleasure, kama, or has learned about them by observing the pursuits of others. From all these, the person has developed discrimination, viveka, and because of this viveka alone, has become a mumukshu. Thus, the one who has viveka is a mumukshu, whereas a person who is merely curious is not. The person who wants to be free but necessarily have a lot of viveka for this particular desire. At the same time, he or she does have some raga dveshas. Raga dveshas do not just go away because the person has viveka. What does a mumukshu do then? This was exactly Arjuna's situation. During the war that eventually ensued, his son died, and Arjuna took a vow that before sunset he would avenge his son's death by killing the person who was responsible. We see then that Arjuna had a lot of grief. This was because raga dvesha do not go away overnight. Even though in the 18th chapter of the Gita, which preceded the above episode, Arjuna had said, "No more delusion for me. I know exactly what it is all about." He still had ambitions and therefore attachments. He had definitely been living a life of dharma, but raga dvesha was still in his heart. This is why one has to live a life of karma yoga for a length of time.
How much time that's going to be? For a length of time.
It can be many lifetimes.
Yeah, that can be. unless you are pursuing it intensely.
Yeah, I
Only
mean,
one
it's
One
really a
pointedness. One
Yeah, one
pointedness.
single pointed. Yeah,
Yes, that
that
is
is
what.
so important, right? I mean,
And we
we've
are
been
joined all for that only, no?
yeah, I know that we've been, at least we are touching the like tip of the ice kind of thing, you know. It's so deep inside here to go. Oh wow. Which is very nice. I think
I think
it would
infinite
really
patience,
definitely,
having
yeah.
infinite
Having
patience, and of course, pursuing it
pursuing it consistently. Yeah.
consistently. Which is why Krishna had told Arjuna, "Hey Arjuna, sannyasa is not for you." Right from the beginning, Arjuna kept on asking Krishna, "Why are you asking me to do this?" So, in spite of Arjuna getting this knowledge directly from Krishna, and in spite of him saying, "Listen, I have nashto moha smritir labdha," in the 18th chapter, saying, my delusion is gone, the moment his son Abhimanyu was killed, he was overcome by so much of grief, which is nothing but attachment, because of attachment. No? So, therefore, he had to live a life of karma yoga, and which translates to all of us. So, karma yoga also, a life of karma yoga also is not a joke. It has to, it is to neutralize all these hidden raga dveshas that are. We don't know. Only when some situation, some person we encounter, they crop up.
Yeah. It's not Arjuna, it's not only grief, and he was, of course, it created so much of anger because about how he got killed, and he would, if he didn't do it, he will kill himself also. He made that kind of decision. And then Bhagavan Krishna has to go and help him out doing all the kinds of stuff. At least he had him. We all have him, but it's just one of those things, you know, to really make a nice way they brought this example here. So what you desire in your life is the base of your, like. Yeah, I got a question,
future.
you know, when you read about Vesha, that, you know, having meditation on this object, right, when you're dwelling upon them. But Dvesha of object, what is it? How is that going to, I mean, you give up
that
very first
it is,
paragraph.
this paragraph, no, for a Viveki, they're
Yeah,
saying
one
that
dwells
Viveki
upon the
also
object
dwells
of,
upon, yeah,
yeah, go
he
ahead.
also he also dwells upon the objects of raga, dvesha, like and dislikes. If he or she still has a rasa, a value for these objects, only till then he will be deciding over. But once that he has that with the self knowledge, he only desire
So
moksha.
you have that value for the objects that becomes that you dwell upon that thought of it. It's called meditation, right?
Yeah,
And that those objects. So one dwells upon the objects of Dvesha in order to avoid them. So you don't like something and you want to dwell upon, you want to avoid it, for which one has to scheme and plan. So if you don't like somebody and you want to avoid that person for some reason, you know, like you want to plan everything like that.
yeah.
Right?
So your mind is focused at that time, no? That so in a
How
form
you
of
going to take care
meditation
of
they have said, yeah.
yeah.
Your mind is always dwelling on that, how that it should be removed or avoided. So
Yeah.
consistently the mind is being focused, and it is that train of thought is going in that direction. So
In that way, they have termed it as meditation. Dwelling upon some situation or object is meditation.
Actually, when you are in Dvesha,
Mm.
you will be always thinking about it.
Yes.
True.
More
Yeah.
than the desire what you
More
want.
difficult is dvesha. Yeah.
Dvesha only.
Dvesha, it's more difficult to remove. Right.
Remove.
Yeah.
So always that is the, but that comes, Dvesha comes when you have too much attachment or moha to one thing and you don't get it, immediately that Dvesha comes.
In terms of dvesha, like say
Hatredness.
somebody says something you don't like, that is also dvesha, right? That does
No,
keep
that
in
is
your
a
mind. That bothers your
first
mind,
step for
right?
Dvesha.
Yeah,
First step for the Dvesha.
right.
See, in the heart chakra, you have love, hatredness, and fear.
Fear.
When you have one thing which is majority, if you have love, this dvesha and fearness will go.
You said hatred or you said love and hate? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that is the heart chakra.
Okay. That's a heart chakra.
Heart chakra. See, when all these chakras, they have positive emotion and also negative emotions.
Right. Positive and negative.
Negative. So, when you raise your prana,
that negative thing
negative qualities will diminish. And positive qualities increases.
What was the third one you said? There are three of them in the heart chakra?
In heart chakra, fear and dvesha.
Oh, fear is that other. Fear and dvesha. Okay.
So when you have love, you will not have both of them.
But those are all negative emotions.
Negative
right?
emotions that has to be diminished by raising your prana.
Okay.
That is why we do the pranayama daily, Sudarshan Kriya, everything to raise our prana high level. Positive things comes.
Good.
And when everything you get, contentment comes, no? When contentment comes, then that gratefulness will come.
Yeah.
And once the gratefulness comes, sadness will go. That is in the throat chakra. So you start developing this gratitude, automatically sadness will go.
Oh. So so these are all through those the advanced courses they teach?
Yeah, that is what. Therefore, we have to attend all such things.
Oh, I see.
And practice it. Advanced course, we have to do 2 times yearly. Then only, almost I have done about 24 or 25. I don't know, I have not counted no more than that. So even then, you will be again drawn into the worldly things because of the so many things. You are in samsara, no? It pulls you. So we have to be always raising our prana, doing the sadhana, doing everything, so many things, and Guru's kripa, as Sumaji said, or some. Guru kripa is most important. And when you listen to Guru, kripa always comes.
Yeah.
Guruji is telling so many things, but we are not following it up.
Yeah, I know.
We say we are devoted to Guru, but not following up.
Yeah.
Jai Gurudev, you're correct, Suresh ji. Yeah, Gurudev, whatever he says, if you do, it really works.
Yeah, that is what I mean.
That is the key.
And his words are, it appears to be so simple, but they are so profound. They are so profound. And why do we do Guru Puja and all that? And Guru Puja we do for the Padukas. Why? We do Guru Puja because to the Paduka, because we want to follow his path.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when we go to him, we are promising him that we are following his path. That is what the gratefulness will come. These are very, very, very subtle things, and it will come to you as you start following the sadhana, create daily doing the kriya daily. So heart, that is what is emptying yourself, cleaning yourself. In advanced course, you will be cleaned completely. Really, I tell you, you become hollow and empty. Again, when you come to the worldliness, again it attaches, and again we do that. So this is a process. We do Sayama, Sayama 1, Sayama 2. Very good it is. So we have the sadhana, satsang and knowledge. We have to be completely. You read so many times Gita, you will understand it, but to follow it, you need practical things, and that is what Guruji has given directly as Sudarshan Kriya.
That's nice. So here this one says, instead of focusing on external objects, you focus on yourself.
Yeah, that is why that's what we do in the meditation.
So that's the meditation.
That's meditation. And slowly, slowly, the worldly things, they will be there, but it will not attract you.
Yeah.
That's what. There will be. The worldly things will be there. So the practices, satsanga, and all other things, we have to be very, very, very disciplined in this. I think it is late. Sorry, I had not seen the time.
I know. I also joined later.
Okay.
This is important what you're sharing.
Huh?
This is important what you are sharing.
See, we get the knowledge, but it has to imbibe, and we have to bring into action. Not listening and again going, again coming back, again raga, dvesha, and all that. He has given so many things. Hari Om Chakra meditation, he's given everything. We have to understand it. Follow it. And see our growth ourselves. Nobody will come and tell you, you know.
Yeah, even he was saying that recently in Siam, whatever he says, don't take it lightly, he said.
Yeah, no. Not only in Siam class or anything, wherever he will not utter a word without any weight in it. That I understood it long time. We have to listen to him very, very, not superficially. His words appear to be very simple, but no, very, very profound. Each word he occurs is godliness. Okay, thank you, Jai Gurdev. And we are not to take him as a personal figure, as a personality. No. He is Guru.
This is out of context. Yesterday, Kachi Kamkoti Shankaracharya visited. So please watch that video. It's very beautiful.
Wonderful. Really wonderful.
You can feel the vibrations even from the screen also.
Yeah. He says Guruji follows Panchanga and also Ashtanga. Panchanga, all the pujas, this, rituals, everything. And Ashtanga, we know it, whatever he is doing. The Sudarshana Kriya started with Ashtanga Yoga only, no?
Can you send that video, please? This group?
It is there. It is there in the...
Yeah, I will send it. It is there already.
No, it is there already.
Oh, okay. I didn't see
Today
it
morning only, Saralaji sent her someone. I don't
what
know.
A divine,
Yes,
multiple times, 1,000
But
times more.
she probably
the
said
divinity.
he's coming or something like that. I thought it was the video.
No, the Kanchikoti
Anyway, if it's there, it's fine.
Yesterday afternoon, India time, it was live actually happening there. It is such a beautiful
beautiful,
scene.
really. He spoke so nice of Guruji. Oh, wow, wow, wow. Wonderful. And Guruji...
Kachi Kamkoti Shankaracharya Hindi is so good, na?
Yeah, that is what... No, see, any spiritual
Sanskrit,
thing,
yeah.
any spiritual thing, not only Sanskrit, when you start growing in the spirituality, talents automatically blossoms. Guruji has said that. द्वार दया का जब तू खोले पंचम सुर में गूंगा बोले अंधा देके लंगड़ा चलकर पहुंचे काशी रे.
Very true, very true. Darshan do ghanasham pyasi re.
Could you please translate Suresh ji?
Madhuri is there, she knows it.
No, both of us we will do. Dwar Dayaka means when you open up your this grace, the door
open up
to the grace.
When grace bestowed on you.
Yeah, the door of grace. Then even the blind can see, the lame person can walk up to the Kashi. Anything and everything is possible.
See, that is what is in intuition, it is happening. We are seeing with our own eyes. Andha deke. They tie the kerchief or black this one on the eyes and he sees everything. Gunga bole means if you don't even have knowledge, you will be speaking. The talent goes. Langda chalkar pauche kashi re. Darshan do ghana shamna tamre. Akhiyan pyasi re. Wonderful it is. The krupa of Guruji is very, very. And Guruji has said, one more, this one is there. They asked, what about this Air India, this one? I think you might have seen that. It is there. Again, it is there in our... No, I will send it if it's not there. He says, surrender is the ultimate thing.
Like surrender. He said about Adi Shankar.
Even we have experienced it, no? So many
times. I have really, I tell you.
One man with his son, small son, around maybe 5-6 years old son. Doctor said he will never be able to see from one of his eyes, and the other eye will be very less distinct. And all these techniques and everything, and the Guru's grace, he is completely 100% okay. He can see anything far away and near also. This
for me, it was one more thing. My close relative had a cancer. Okay. And earlier he had and all that, everything, it happened and immediately started, and again it reached to the fourth stage. Okay. And then when they went to the doctor, they said, why you are doing all these things? It's already reached fourth stage and all that. I told, nothing doing. Come to the Ayurvedic clinic in our ashram. I will take you to the Guruji and all that other things. And can you imagine now? It has receded. And Guruji was so busy that day. We took an appointment and stood in the line there. There was no appointment. It was satsang line. And everyone was waiting for him, and he just passed. And before that, I uh, prayed for my relative, and he just saw, and he went, and he said, Dhairya said, oh, that much only, he said, have this one, Dhairya in the Iri ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು, Kannada, And immediately when we come back home, that relative got fever. Fever means what? 2 days fever, and he was continuously sleeping. I became very, very much anxious. What happened? What happened? What happened? And the next day when they put this, again they started this one, the blood test they happened, it was reversed. Even the ashram doctor, Doctor who that, I forgot his name, he told, congratulations, you are lucky that reversal is happening, and now he is very good. Everyone has left his hope, and I was outside, like now like this USA. Last time I was in USA, they didn't have no one to advise, but I personally went and took him and brought him, and this really happened. Dwaradaya ka jab tu khole. Surrender is the most. Ultimately, Krishna says, no. He says, I have told you everything. Now it is you to decide what to do. But even then, I tell you, the easiest is follow me. That is a surrender. After all 18 chapters, he just says, just follow me. That's the easiest step. That is the bhakti again. Grace will flow automatic. I don't know, just a glance of Guruji to my relative has just overturned the complete fourth stage of cancer.
You took him to that darshan line?
Darshan line, that was...
He was standing. Okay.
We were standing in the satsang. Not satsang, there was that dance and that program, no? What program we call?
Mahotsav. Yeah.
Huh?
That any state Mahotsav must be going on.
Stage Mahotsav. And so many people were there, and in that only there was a line, and we stood in the line, and there was no time. Guruji just even a minute, he just saw it. With that grace only, how much? Otherwise, they had lost life. They had lost the hope, completely hope. And this is happening in front of me only. It just happened 2-3 months back. So we have to have lot of faith. That is Shraddha. Main is Shraddha. And knowledge, okay, we are all making it knowledge, but it reinforces our Shraddha, this knowledge. Jai Gurudev, here it is night now already, 10:30. Maharaj.
Jai Gurudev.
Thank you, Suresh, for sharing all your experiences. It basically makes that faith stronger and stronger.
That is what Shraddha.
Yeah.
No, this has happened to me many, many times. Many times. I am really very lucky to have that. It will happen to everyone, but there should be an eye to see it. That gratitude, it has to come to you. No one can make you that. You only have to see that. Whatever is happening is the grace of God. And once that happens, sadness just goes. That is in the throat chakra. There are only two. That is gratefulness or sadness. So once you are grateful, sadness is not there. First is the gratefulness. And it doesn't come like that. It has to. You have to develop it. Jai Gurudev.
Okay, we'll end with the prayer. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukbhag bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Krishnarpnamastu. Jai Gurudev.
Is accepting this moment, living every moment totally with depth. Let us keep our spine erect and body relaxed and eyes closed. Relax your shoulders. Keep a big smile on your face. You're sitting like the statue of Buddha, very serene and with a serene smile on your face. Relax your body. Let's take a deep breath in and breathe out. Become aware of your chest region, throat and chest region. If you notice some tension in the body, just let it be. Except those parts of the body where you feel a tension, the other parts are in comfort. Other parts are at peace. Become aware of that also. There are many good things about you and inside of you. Acknowledge them. They will never leave you. And the negative aspect you may see in you is never going to stay with you forever. They are all guests for some time. Let them be. Sit with the total acceptance of yourself the way you are at this very moment. Total acceptance of what is now here will lead us to deeper meditation. Let go of all the effort. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let go of all your effort and be in this emptiness. And slowly and gradually become aware of body and surroundings. And you may gently open your eyes.